This is the Hartford Online Radio Network. 21st Century Audio. Delivered on thehorn.com.
You're listening to On the Horn, the Hartford Online Radio Network. News Talk tonight, I'm Brian Parker. We are sponsored by Gateway Financial Group, the accounting firm of Budwitz and Meyerjack, Deepwater Seafood of Avon, Sherpa Technologies, and CentralCTDental.com. Big show tonight. We have Editor-in-Chief, CT News Junkie Christine Stuart, Dominic Alaimo, owner of Freshwater Package Store in Enfield, and also news anchor Dennis House coming in, moderator of Face the State on Channel 3, WFSB. He's going to be calling in at 8:35, so big show talking about, do we need to sell more liquor? Some of us would say probably, absolutely. But we will get to it. But first, our good friend Dave Moore has some news for us. And we'll start there with all your news from the blogosphere. Here's Dave Moore.
Thank you, Brian. From our friends at ctnewsjunkie.com.
Hey, that's you.
Yeah, how about that? Merrill and Malloy propose election legislation. Election day registration, no excuse, absentee voting, and online voter registration are just a few of the legislative proposals put forward on Martin Luther King Day by Secretary of State Denise Merrill and Governor Daniel P. Malloy. The right to vote is under assault all over the country, and there is a, quote, crisis of confidence in our democracy, Merrill said at a Capitol Press conference. In 2011 alone, the number of states that have adopted newer restrictive voting laws, placing additional barriers in front of the ballot box, has tripled. In an effort to improve voter turnout and participation in Connecticut, Merrill said she is going to be asking the legislature to approve election day registration that will allow voters to register the same day as they vote. 9 states have some form of election day registration, and Merrill said that it has improved turnout by an average of 8 to 10% in those states.
Do we really need that? Do we really need people to come in like with their oil bill and say, hey, I want to vote?
Basically, with the improvement in various technologies, it is quite possible for basically the registrars of voters to be able to handle this kind of thing. And it has shown that it improves voting percentages as well as raise the number of people who are registered.
This would probably be a great example of raising the number of votes, but maybe not the quality of votes.
That
because if you don't have the wherewithal to, yeah, okay, I won't take that one, but go ahead.
Okay, from our friends at Wyndham Today, Representative Susan Johnson adds her support to the National Health Care Act. State Representative Susan Johnson, Democrat from Wyndham, Vice Chair of the state's legislature's Insurance and Real Estate Committee, has joined with other lawmakers at the state capitol today in support of the U.S. Supreme Court filing that defends the constitutionality of the Affordable Care Act. The case will be heard by the High Court in March 2012. I'm proud that we in Connecticut are supporting the Affordable Care Act, which has already lowered health care costs and expanded health insurance coverage for many state residents, said Representative Johnson. In conjunction with the working group of state legislators for health reform, hundreds of lawmakers from across the nation have joined forces to demonstrate their support in a Friend of the Court or amicus curiae brief. The legislators' brief argues that the Constitution gives broad power to the federal government to act in cases where a national solution is necessary. The Affordable Care Act capitalizes on state innovations by setting a minimum coverage floor that gives states considerable policy flexibility. From our friends at the Middletown Eye, the Human Relations Commission will be featuring guest speakers on Wednesday. Human Relations Commission Chairman David A. Boyce has announced that Roger and Nicole Brewer, a father and daughter, authors of the Withstanding the Lie, will be guest speakers at the next meeting of the City of Middletown Human Relations Commission. The brewers will be discussing the work that they have been doing to teach others to protect themselves mentally and emotionally from the bigotry of others, Chairman Boyce stated. If you or someone you know has ever had acts of bigotry because of your race, religion, ethnic background, gender, age, sexual orientation, economic status, weight, height, complexion, physical ability, or anything else, this is a presentation you don't want to miss. I happen to know Attorney Brewer. He's been practicing law for at least 25 years, and he is the son of a Georgia sharecropper. Boy, does he know discrimination. And from our friends at the Walcott Whisperer.
Oh, the Walcott Whisperer.
The first snow of the year causes school delays. Yeah, we haven't had snow at all in 2012 until today. We had 2 inches of snow. It caused a 90-minute delay.
Well, we know. We don't want those kids to get out early.
No. Not in June, for heaven's sakes.
Okay.
That's...
Oh, and let me turn on your microphone.
Oh, thank you.
Sorry.
They did not open the Emergency Operations Center.
The
FYI,
governor over
yes.
at the armory there.
Yeah.
And that's our news from the blogosphere.
There he is, Dave Moore, newsman extraordinaire, exclusively right here at On the Horn News Talk tonight. All those stories, you can find them on the Independent Media Network of Connecticut website, imnct.com. All right, let's get to it here. Well, I got a lot of jokes I can say about Sunday liquor sales, but let's bring in the experts here. There are 2 big things going on here. One is Sunday liquor sales and increasing the time that people are allowed to stay open and sell liquor. All set?
Yep.
And the other one is this medallion system, actually getting your license and then getting a medallion. So there's kind of 2 ways we can attack this, but let's attack the juicy topic first. Dominic is a liquor store owner. How many liquor stores do you own? One. And how many liquor stores would you like to own?
One.
Okay. And you are up in Enfield, which is now called a border town. So we're separating you from the rest of the Commonwealth here of Connecticut. So now you're a border town. So you have special needs to compete with the towns in Massachusetts selling liquor. So you want to sell more liquor more often.
That's correct. We just want a level playing field, like you said, competition.
Okay. So if you sell 100% of whatever you sell right now, if you open up on Sunday, this would be the big question. Are you going to sell more than 100%? Are you going to sell more liquor if you open another day? Or is that same 100% just going to be spread out now between 7 days as opposed to 6 days?
Totally impossible. Absolutely more sales that just go over the border on Sunday and go look at the package stores in Massachusetts. Okay. There's waiting lines to get in with all Connecticut cars.
It's interesting. So Massachusetts didn't allow liquor sales initially. And a few years back, I can't remember what the year was.
I think it's about 7 years ago.
About 7 years ago, they increased. They allowed Sunday sales, and there was they say 2.8% increase in sales. Now, 2.8% does not seem like a whole lot. Doesn't sound like lines out the door to get liquor on Sundays. And if you're talking about 1/7 of your revenue, certainly that would be more substantial than 2.8%. So it doesn't seem that Massachusetts is really getting a big bump in this either.
Well, they are, because when you say 1/7, Sunday is the second busiest shopping day of the week. So you're taking away your second busiest day and giving all your business to Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and New York.
What's the worst shopping day?
I'd have to say maybe Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah. So if the blue law was instead on a Monday or a Tuesday, would you care as much? Do you really, really just want to be open on Sunday? Because that's the weekend. That's when people do their sales.
Well, if I had a choice, it'd be open on Sundays, the second busiest day. But I don't think the state of Connecticut has any right to tell me when to open my store.
I don't disagree with you. It's a great point. What are the opponents saying? I was trying to get a few people on, but we have a small studio. Christine, what were some of the ideas that folks that don't like this, like Mr. Hughes, what is he saying? Is he saying that this is just going to drive the small mom and pops out of business?
Well, I mean, what he's saying now is that that they've been studying this issue, and they're looking at maybe not opening all 52 Sundays, but opening some Sundays. And it depends on the liquor store. If you're a liquor store in the middle of the state, this may not impact you as much. But I know that Dominic has a few choice words for those liquor stores that don't want to open on Sunday.
Christine, they don't have to open.
Right.
They don't even have to open Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Stay closed.
In fact, don't open at all.
Don't open. Sell.
Stay home.
Sell your store if you like.
Yeah. So, I mean, right now he doesn't know what the bulk of the proposals. Carroll Hughes doesn't know what the bulk of the proposals will do, and he has to meet with his members of his organization.
What was the increase? They say $570 million in sales across the border that Connecticut loses out on. What's the tax revenue for that?
What, $570 million in sales?
Yeah. I mean, if we did 15%, that's like $85 million in corporate tax. But
well,
are these guys doing?
You know, if it's all, sales tax, but there's also the excise tax and
Yep.
other taxes worked into liquor, so it's hard to say. They didn't break it out for us.
Does it seem like Malloy is trying to make up for the excise tax and sales tax increase by giving you guys another day to open?
Well, I don't think he brought much money in. That's what he's starting to learn here. But going back to what you said about how much money, keep in mind, Brian, when they go over to Massachusetts or any other state and they go there to buy their liquor, they're doing all their shopping there now. They buy cigarettes there. They fill their gas tanks up. They're shopping in Stop and Shops up there. So it's not just Sunday liquor sales. And another thing I'd like to say and get that out there because of my friend Carroll Hughes, and we'll get into him a little later. But you do sell liquor on Sunday right now. You can buy it in a pub. You can buy it in a restaurant. You can buy it at a winery. You can go down. We have a state rep in the state that owns a restaurant that sells wine on a Sunday. But the package store down the street, he won't allow them to open. So it ain't like you can't buy liquor on Sunday in Connecticut.
Right.
The state just wants to pick and choose who can and when. Sporting events, you can buy it too.
That's a great point too, because I have always thought that it's bizarre that we have all of these anti-drunk driving laws on the books, and yet we encourage people to drive drunk on Sundays.
Correct.
Because we're not going to let you go out, buy something, and bring it home and drink it. I don't really know what a viable argument that would be, but
we still have an open container law too.
Didn't they? I thought they buttoned that up this year.
I wasn't sure that they buttoned it up.
If you're bringing your empties back to a store, be careful. You're recycling. You can get arrested.
Who knows? We don't know. In fairness to Carroll Hughes, who is the president of the
Connecticut Package Store
Association, I did speak to him on the phone, and he's in a little odd position because we're on Tuesday night and he's meeting with his folks tomorrow, so he didn't want to say anything on the record. So he was interested in coming on, but he didn't. He just couldn't at this point because he's going to go talk to his folks. So we have now this medallion system. Here's the other kind of 1-2 punch of this. So you have to get a license, Dominic, to own a liquor store, right?
Yes.
Special
Yes, you
permittee liquor license.
It's a Connecticut liquor license, right?
What is this medallion system? You have to get also a medallion to own this liquor store as well to open?
Well, if you have a liquor, you'll get a medallion now,
okay.
from what I
so
understand.
You're grandfathered in.
Yep.
You get a coin, a medallion to play, and then
what this does is it's almost like the taxi cabs in New York where they have medallions, but in Massachusetts it's that way. Like me, I've been at it for 33 years. My license is only worth $500 like it was almost when I started. Mm-hmm. So the medallion is good because of people who've been in business for years. It adds some value to your store. It becomes like real estate, and most states are that way.
So is there going to be a finite number of medallions?
Yes, I imagine it'll be just what's out there for stores now. I think, Christine, no more. They're going to shut down.
So if we want to...
1,228.
Okay, 128. So if someone wants to open up a liquor store, they have to go out and find some of you guys and purchase one, like someone, say, buying a private equity.
That's correct. Buying a house or buying anything else, it's got like a real estate value to it.
So now who regulates that? Because now this is becoming a security. We are securitizing.
The Department of Consumer Protection.
Yes.
Okay, so why wouldn't the Department of Banking or the SEC be involved?
The less involved, the better it's going to work.
Well, I don't disagree
From
with you
a
there.
practical point, yes.
This is true, what you say. You speak the truth. But, this is now a security. This is now a tradable item. And it's not it's not like a commodity, like a, paper clip or a bunch of basket of oranges. This is something that, is going to trade on a secondary market, that it's not going to trade on a primary market.
You know, Brian, I'm sorry, Christine.
Can you tell he's in finance? The department, this is what, according to the Malloy administration here.
Penalty flag for you. No insulting the host.
The Department of Consumer Protection is going to assure that if the medallion is not used, that to actually operate a package store within a set period of time, it's forfeited and sold at an auction. And a constant review from the Department of Consumer Protection, an automatic 5-year legislative review is included to ensure the market is operating as intended.
Am I right to assume then that there are exactly 1,228 package stores in Connecticut?
I think that's the correct number, Brian.
Okay. So if there's that many package stores, we want, we're Big Y. We want to start selling, liquor and wine. I'm Big Y. I got deep pockets. I can go off and I can buy this somewhere through the Consumer Protection Agency, and I get that now. And now I'm selling liquor and wine after, I think there's like a 5-year waiting period or something like that.
Yeah, but you can't do that in the grocery store. It'd have to be a whole separate entrance, and it also has to fit into local zoning laws. So if there's like a liquor store just down the street, you can't put that liquor store in Big Y.
Why would that be?
There's zoning laws. Like I think it's 1,000 feet.
Yeah, but zoning
store.
laws. Yeah, but zoning laws are those are made to be broken. I mean,
no.
You get these guys in on the town council.
Not when you come to Enfield. Oh, no. Those zoning laws, the Liquor Commission goes out and they actually measure.
I disagree with you, but you brought a posse from Enfield. So.
I sit on planning and zoning in Enfield, so that's why I know.
Okay.
It's a good town. They're very strict on sticking to state laws.
So, but here's let's say you get the approval and you're not 1,000, whatever you said, 1,000 yards away or whatever.
1,000 feet.
1,000 feet. Which doesn't seem like a lot. What's that?
It's quite a bit.
It's 3 football fields.
No, it's more like
Yeah, a little more.
A little more.
Including the end zones.
Now you got it.
Thank you. So you get in there. I mean, how is just a liquor store going to survive if you have something like Big Y, who opens up an annex with a separate entrance, no more than 1,000 feet, et cetera, et cetera. Now people, like you were using the argument, they're going to go there for not just their groceries and their milk and their and whatever else, their cigarettes, their lotto tickets. They can do banking in the grocery store. Now they can buy liquor. Doesn't that destroy the package store business model?
No, it's about how you treat your own customers, and they'll still come back. But remember, they're buying all that stuff right now, except for liquor, 6 days a week in the grocery stores. They have everything there.
And the only thing they're not buying is
liquor.
So why wouldn't they just pick up the liquor on the way out? Well,
if you go into Enfield, you have a Stop and Shop store, and next to him there's a big liquor store there, and he's been open. They've opened 5 or 6, and I do just my same business. My problem is Sunday going to Massachusetts, and the problem also is the minimum pricing is going to come off too, which is huge. I guess to help us
from a business standpoint, I don't get it, because if I'm whatever it was, Stop and Shop you said, and I see this guy next to me, and I want to open up a liquor store. Well, that's great. How much you want for your liquor store? Here you go. Here's a pile of cash. Go away. Now you have all in one-stop shopping, all in one place.
Just like every other industry in the state of Connecticut.
Yeah, so why would you're not afraid of that? You're not
absolutely not. No.
Okay.
Nope. If I can survive the 8 years on the border with the Sunday liquor sales in Mass, I think I can survive the rest of it. I think it's great for the whole economy.
If you weren't on the border of Massachusetts, do you think you'd be as passionate about this as you are?
Absolutely. Just to make it competitive and get the government out of our lives with this. They don't belong there.
Interesting.
So actually, Dominic, can you talk a little bit about how the minimum pricing works now and how it impacts your business now?
The minimum pricing, basically what you have here is you have the Connecticut wholesalers. I'm probably not going to get any deliveries for a while now. But what they do is there's a fixed pricing. So if I wanted to put a lost leader out there or sell something a little bit cheaper to get customers in a store, I can't do that right now. And it's good for the wholesalers because they don't have to start sharpening their pencils. And what they ought to do is lift those territorial rights, too, because there's certain things in Connecticut, and I'm hoping this is next, where one guy comes in and has a certain brand, such as Budweiser. I can only buy it from one guy. And something very sad was the shooting at Hartford Distributors there a couple of years ago, a year and a half ago. I had a hard time paying my bills because I couldn't buy no Budweiser products, which is Michelob and everything else, because there's territorial rights in Connecticut where one guy says this is the price, you don't like it, you're out, you're all done. So they need to get more people to get into different territories where I can shop around for the best price, and the consumer is the winner again.
Right.
Not the package store owners. Even with Sunday liquor sales, this is not a win for the package stores. It's a win for the consumers of the state of Connecticut.
They decided not to do the territories.
Not, we're hoping next time.
Yeah.
That's something they should look at. But you know what? I'm content what's going on now. This governor, my hat's off to him, because we've had 2 previous governors that are totally afraid of everybody at the state. And then again, we'll get back to Carroll Hughes, and I can give you a little insight on Carroll Hughes, my friend.
Well, go ahead. Tell me about Carroll Hughes.
Well, here's the thing.
He was very nice on the phone.
No, he's a nice guy. But last year when you went to testify at the General Law Committee, he come up there, he had an envelope in his hand with a bunch of numbers written on the back telling the General Law Committee what they were going to make on liquor and what was made, and I just shook my head. And when I got up there, I said to Senator Doyle, I said, you're taking a guy's word for it with numbers on the back of an envelope? And then State Rep Kathy Tallarita, and thank God for her, because without her, none of this, we wouldn't be here tonight, because she's done a great job with this. But Kathy had asked Carroll Hughes how many members that the Package Store Association had. He claims 800, 400. We called him on a carpet on that about having 50 members. Kathy wrote him a letter also after the meeting to produce those names and the dues, and he says, no, it's private, we can't tell you. Carroll Hughes does not represent 800 package stores. Absolutely no way. And remember, Carroll Hughes is a hired gun in this. He makes money doing this, and this is his job. But he had his lackey in the Senate when it was Calipetro. He got voted out. That was his lackey up there. He used to shred that bill year after year.
Okay. I'm not really sure I have a follow-up question on that. But what do you think about the issue of allowing places, restaurants, to stay open 2 a.m. Every day? I guess we're moving to a trend like Rhode Island and Massachusetts that allowed people to stay open and serve liquor. Is this a good thing or is this a bad thing?
Great thing. It's called competition. Because if you go to any local cafes or bars and restaurants, and let's face it, people like to go out and have a good time.
Yeah.
Now, you're over in Enfield or any border town, and they start leaving the establishment a lot earlier than last call because they have to get over to Massachusetts and get into another place. So again, you got people driving while they're drinking, then driving home even further. So the common sense thing is this whole thing is all about competition, level playing field, and let the consumers dictate to the government what hours to be open. Because you know what? If I own a cafe or a bar and I clock my hours and I'm not doing anything after 11:30, I'll close up. It's my right to close up early if I want. But there shouldn't be the government standing there saying you must do this or you must do that.
One of the roles of government, I believe, I could be wrong, is to protect consumers from themselves. Allowing folks to stay open until 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. or all night long, I think contributes to the likelihood of drunken driving. Even in your example, you're saying they're leaving one establishment after having drank a little early to go and get more drinks somewhere else.
That's reality, Brian. That's what they're doing. You can go out and you can see it. You may not see it as much in Hartford, but along the border towns, you'll see it all the time.
Well, then why 2 a.m.? Would you prefer 3 a.m.? Would that be better?
To me, whatever the market dictates, I guess. I mean, you can cut it off somewhere, but the government's job is to protect us from safety, health, and welfare, not to dictate to consumers or who can open and who can't open and what time you should close. That's not their job.
But with the alcohol thing, at some point people become a public hazard, right?
Well, so don't people coming over the border that they're not stopping. They're a hazard. They become here and they start killing people over the border. We are doing anything about that? You have to let people. You have to let people play this out because Governor Malloy has this right. Is that we are suffering in this state for tens of millions of dollars because of people like Carroll Hughes who have a hard time telling the truth.
Tens of millions of dollars. So the estimate here is a total of $3.6 million in tax revenue. $2.4 million of that is sales tax. $1.2 is an excise tax. So that doesn't seem like a whole lot. That doesn't seem like tens of millions of dollars.
No,
actually, that was last year's OFA estimate.
That's correct.
And so what I'm reading now from the Malloy administration printout is that industry estimates range, say Sunday sales alone could increase sales 4 to 8%, which would equate to about 6.4 million to 11.2 million in new state revenue.
Okay, so
which is more than the excise tax right now. The increase in the excise tax is raising an additional $9.9 million, I believe.
That's correct. That's the new numbers, I believe.
Yeah.
They have it there.
Yeah.
And Connecticut is one of 2 states that does not allow liquor sales in the United States. Indiana is the other state.
Indiana. So basically what Carroll Hughes tells you is that there's 48 other stupid states in the nation. They all got it wrong but Connecticut and Indiana, I guess.
That could be. And no time like the present. Let's give the hotline a jingle right here. Is this Dennis House?
It is. Brian, how are you?
Dennis, thanks for joining us, buddy. In the studio right now, Christine Stuart and Dominic Alaimo from the Freshwater Package Store. We're kind of getting our hands around this issue. Tell me what you have heard as the man on the street, the true Hartfordite. What's the word out there, pro or con?
I think it's definitely pro. I think many people would like to see liquor stores open on Sunday. I work in an industry where a lot of the people are from out of state, and I know that when people first move to Connecticut, they're kind of stunned. In fact, my wife was saying that when she first moved here, she was in the grocery store and she went over to the clerk and she said, "Could you help me lift these tarps up off the wine and beer?" And she's from Michigan, where it's open 24 hours a day practically, and so she was a little bit surprised by that. And I think people are stunned when they first come here and they're like, "What do you mean they close it?" Well, now they're 9, but they used to close at 8. And she'll kill me for repeating this story, but Mika Brzezinski, who's now on MSNBC, used to work Saturdays, and she would literally sprint out of the building after her live shots to make it to the liquor stores before they closed. So I think overall you're seeing a lot of people who think that it's just a convenience. And I know one of the arguments is that it's a moral issue, that maybe it would cut back on people drinking more and driving drunk. Well, if that's the case, then the argument is that they should also close bars on Sundays.
Well, and that can certainly be one of the arguments. We were just discussing about the bars themselves being able to stay open until 2 a.m. every day of the week, and is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? And if it really is a competition thing, as Dominic was saying, should we just make sure that we let our bars stay open as late as possible compared to what New York and Massachusetts and Rhode Island? But I'm not really sure that's where it is. I think part of government is to be is to keep us from hazards, and I think drunk driving is probably a pretty big hazard. And if they want to close the bars early, yeah, let's go ahead and do that.
Yeah, but Brian, did they just drive over the border to Massachusetts or New York? They're not going home.
Well,
they're going drinking further away.
We're in the state of Connecticut, so I mean, we can only do what we can only do.
Well, we're a very small state. If we were Florida or California, you can get away with some of this stuff. But like the way the crow flies, we're 45 minutes away either direction.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not far. It's common sense. It's people got to be responsible. If you can be responsible until 1 o'clock in the morning, why can't you till 2?
Well, the argument would be because you'd be drinking more, and as you drink,
they're going to leave and go over the border. It happens in droves. They don't go home. Young kids. I mean, we're all young, and I didn't go home either.
I don't know. It seems like we're encouraging people in the state of Connecticut to drink more. We want more tax revenue, and the only way that's going to happen is instead of just smoothing out or spreading out whatever the 6-day liquor sale schedule is, we want to do more than just spread that out over 7 days. So please buy more liquor in the state of Connecticut, and that just kind of rubs me the wrong way.
Well, hold on now, Brian. It sounds like Carroll Hughes is in the room. That's absolutely not true. Because what you're going to get is the people are leaving over the border on Sunday.
They are.
You're not gonna make them drink more. They're going to drink the same. But the good thing is the tax dollars are staying home without raising taxes. That's the key to this.
No,
I think a lot of people think that if you're going to allow bars to sell liquor on a Sunday, why not allow liquor stores to sell it? And if the only reason is to protect mom and pop stores because they don't want to open on Sundays or they can't afford to open on Sundays, well, then maybe they close on a Monday to make up for it, or something like that.
No.
And I know that when I had Carroll Hughes on Face the State a while back, I asked him about that, and he said, well, Monday's a big delivery day, and a lot of people like to spend time with their families on Sundays. Well, that's true.
Oh, Dennis, can I step in right there first?
Sure.
First of all, I'd love to come on your show and debate Carroll Hughes anytime. He was he was at the General Law Committee last year to testify. The Monday delivery for liquor is absolutely untrue. There's not one liquor company in the state of Connecticut that delivers liquor on a Monday. And it's ask Carroll Hughes about that. There's no liquor. Call them all up. Call every liquor distributor up. Beer, yes, not liquor.
Okay. Go ahead, Dennis.
Yeah, I mean, some of the things that Carroll Hughes has said, I don't know that there's any real evidence to back some of it up. I know one of the things he told me was that he believes that more people drive drunk after going to liquor stores than going to bars. And I'm not sure that that's necessarily accurate.
Well,
just my own anecdotal experience looking around. Do people go to liquor stores and drink right away in their car? I don't know. Maybe they do.
No. I've been here 33 years. Most of them take it home in a bag.
Okay. Should I admit it now? Ah, damn.
It's you, Brian.
It's the recovering alcoholic in the room will step up and admit
I do think that, and several times, I think we've all seen drunk drivers on the road, and, perhaps we've lost people to drunk drivers over the years. Certainly something has to be done to tighten the rules on drunk driving. I know that they have. Certainly the penalties are stronger than they've ever been, but maybe more needs to be done.
There was an interesting Quinnipiac poll. Do you think Connecticut liquor stores should be allowed to sell alcohol on Sundays? Overwhelmingly, the state of Connecticut says yes, 66 to 30. But this is an interesting one. Do you think Connecticut grocery stores should be allowed to sell wine and hard liquor? Just the opposite. They do not think grocery stores should be allowed to get into the wine and spirits. And that's fascinating to me. One of the concessions, I don't really know if that's what you would call it, but one of the concessions is to allow these small mom and pop liquor stores or whatever to start selling food, to start selling, wine and cheese and crackers and make a little atmosphere out of it. So maybe they capture some of that revenue. But it would seem that that's not what the state of Connecticut, the folks polled at least, are really interested in. They are saying, no, we do not want Connecticut grocery stores in the business of selling wine and liquor. So I think
I'm not certain about this, but I think that in Rhode Island and Massachusetts, you cannot buy beer in a supermarket. Is that correct? Does anybody know?
Do you know?
I grew up in Massachusetts, and I remember my parents and friends always had to go to a liquor store to buy that stuff that was not sold in stores.
I'm not sure that's still that way, Dennis. I think you can buy beer in a grocery store there now.
My recollection
I'm not
of going
positive.
to Big Y in Southwick is that you can get beer in Big Y.
I don't really know, but what I have seen, which fascinates me, is you go into a gas station, and you can buy, your 40 ounce of whatever, and then take it in your car. Like, who doesn't think that guy is cracking that 40 ounce of whatever?
Malt liquor.
Yeah, malt liquor right in his car when he leaves. Like, oh, okay, yeah, let's really encourage that. But maybe this medallion system will keep that kind of thing from happening. That I would probably have to really rail against. Folks being able to open up a gas station and then sell beer, even if they can't sell liquor in there. That doesn't seem to be.
Connecticut does still have an open container.
They do still have allowing the open container. I'm sure news anchor Channel 3 FSB, Mr. Hartfordite Dennis House, is very excited about that. He's going to go out there and on his way home, you're like,
open the container.
Yeah, I mean, my wife and I have called a few people in. We've called police a few times from the car when we've seen some drunk drivers. We had gone to some event in Fairfield County not too long ago, and we were behind someone who was ridiculously drunk on the Merritt Parkway. And it's scary what's out there. It really is. So, certainly I would applaud any measures to, get drunk drivers off the roads. But I don't know that there's going to be a correlation between opening liquor stores on Sundays.
So this is kind of.
And then, there's also the argument, too, that why are mom and pop liquor stores protected by this, yet mom and pop clothing stores aren't protected by other regulations?
Interesting. I think probably because there's an excise tax on liquor and probably not on clothing. But, it's just sort of the way it all came about. And I think, ultimately, I think I'm going to agree that we should probably, let these guys open on Sunday. This is, this is capitalism. And, Dennis, you brought up a great point. Why not just, if you need to close for one day a week, pick your day of the week that's really slow. Close that day. But that's
it's like barbershops. They close on Mondays, don't they? Isn't that their day off?
That's voluntary, though.
Yeah, that's
it
voluntary.
used to be years ago in the old days,
Yeah. Well, it could be. And, my argument to Carroll Hughes was when I had him on, I said, well, are liquor stores really that busy on a Monday? And they might be busy on a Monday because they're closed on Sundays. But if they were open on Sundays, would they be busier because it's a holiday? Probably.
Yeah, and you get into.
They might make more money.
You get into this little, what are we going to do, and all these different hypothetical questions, and you really can't answer that question. You got to actually go through it.
That's true.
So now, Christine, is there a moratorium on this, like in 4 or 5 years, to see if this is really working, or is there anyone tracking this to see if this idea, which is really what it is, it's an idea that we're going to get more revenue from this, is it working?
Oh, what do you mean? The idea that we're going to get more revenue from this is working?
Right. I thought I was reading something. Maybe it was someone.
Well, no,
I mean
it was a
the medallion is 5 years.
It's a 5-year period of time that they're basically going to be rolling out these regulations for, and after that, it's going to need some more discussion based on the data that they get.
So does it sunset, or what happens after 5 years if nothing happens?
It doesn't say. I mean, these are 2 pages of paper, and there's no legislation written yet. So,
and why would there be?
We never know exactly what's going to happen until somebody starts writing those pieces.
And Brian, keep in mind, in 1982, the Connecticut Supreme Court said that blue laws were unconstitutional. 1994, the car dealers went to court and won that case too. So they have no way. The state of see, the problem here is the state of Connecticut is trying to pick and choose who can sell liquor on Sunday. Now they can say no liquor on Sunday and shut it all down, then it would be constitutionally right. They can do that. But they can't pick and choose and say you can sell liquor, but I can't, he could, she can't. You can't do that. That's the whole problem here is going to court with this. But 2 other things I want to give you. I know you talked to Carroll Hughes.
Sure.
48 states and Discus and everybody, and a lot of studies have been done. Not one store has lost one package store closing up due to Sunday liquor sales. And all the studies done about any more deaths or accidents due to liquor did not increase in any state. And these are federal studies that were done. So Carroll Hughes, again, like I said, you should ask Carroll Hughes, and maybe Dennis, next time you get him on, ask him how many businesses he actually ran in his life. I don't think he's ever run a business.
All right. Well, Carroll Hughes is doing he's doing his job. He has to lobby for
Brian,
them. So
I agree. He makes his money that way, but you know what? You have to tell the truth when you do this.
Okay. Well, he's going to advocate hard for them. But I will give Dominic the last word. We're going to take a quick little break. I want to say very special thank you to Dennis House for calling in. Who's coming up next Sunday on Face of State?
Well, we're not. The guest list does not really get finalized until Thursday because we tape on Thursday nights.
I do know that. You probably don't even realize this, but I was on Face the State last year. Susan Raff was filling in.
That's right, with Susan Raff. I was on vacation last year. That's right. Susan Raff fills in. No, I did know you were on because I usually watch it when I get back online.
Oh, jeez.
And, it was in July, right?
Yeah, it was something like that. Yeah, it was in the summer. I don't remember, but
no, I do remember that. So
there you go. Well, I'd be happy to make another appearance. If you need me in a pinch.
No, would love to have you on. You were great.
All right, you're a sweetheart for coming on. Thanks, buddy. We'll let you go.
Anytime.
Take care. Bye, Dennis.
All right, there he is, Dennis House, Mr. Hartfordite. Have you ever read his blog, The Hartfordite?
Yes.
It's not terrible.
It's good.
Which I'm not saying, it should be terrible. I'm just saying. It's not terrible. Listen, we're going to take a quick little break. We'll be right back to wrap it up.
Budwitz & Meyerjack PC is a large Connecticut-based CPA firm with offices in Cheshire and Farmington, Connecticut. Large enough to handle engagements of enterprises with annual revenues in excess of $100 million, yet small enough to cater to smaller businesses and individual clients who expect personalized attention from partners and staff. Client service is the cornerstone of our practice. Our clients have a fixed fee for their audit and tax work. What this means to the client is we're approachable. Personal communication and client services make for strong relationships. Budwitz & Meyerjack, certified public accountants.
And the Emmy goes to Stats Magoo.
This is Mr. Magoo's first Emmy for an internet podcast. Recently, he came in second place in the Moodus County Fair Chili Cook-Off, and in 1973 was awarded the Sportsmanship Honorable Mention for 5th grade badminton.
Wow, what a shock. I'm just so overwhelmed. I don't know what to say. I mean, got so many people to thank. No, wait, I have to thank people.
That was Stats Magoo.
I love you, Mom.
Congratulations, Stats. Coming up next, Justin Bieber sings Smells Like Teen Spirit. We'll be right back.
For business and leisure, we'll take you there. Sandits Travel has been proudly serving Connecticut since 1960. That's over 50 years. And we're ready for another 50 years of superior service. Whether you prefer to come in, call in, or log on, we invite you to explore how efficient, diverse, and fun it is to book through Sandits Travel. Save your money and your time with us. Sandits Travel. We'll take you there.
Welcome back to On the Horn, Hartford Online Radio Network. News Talk tonight. I'm Brian Parker. All right, so when I point to you guys, you say the word deep water. Just like that. You got it? Only when I point to you. Okay, here we go. Deepwater Seafood of Avon.
Deep water.
Just for the halibut, Farmington Valley's freshest seafood store. They will work with you and your schedule. Call ahead at 860-676-9657 or fax 677-2281. Deepwater.
Deep water.
We'll set aside your order for pickup after work Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. Saturdays, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Sea scallops, fresh oysters, fish, chips, soups, bix, chowders, having a party. Paella for $12 and a salad is all you need, made with spicy chicken, andouille sausage, scallop, shrimp, and halibut. Deepwater Seafood.
Deep water.
Just for the halibut. That was excellent. You all have a great career ahead of you in echo management. Okay. Last word. Oh, we have a little. Who's this? Governor Malloy's nephew of Freshwater Package Stores, Dominic Stores.
What?
Governor Malloy's nephew came into Freshwater Package Store, Dom's store. Okay. But I don't know what that means.
Didn't introduce himself. I don't know.
Okay, he didn't introduce. Is this the governor's nephew? Is that what you're saying? Okay, I don't really know what that is.
Or is it
But
my
the chat
nephew? Maybe it's my nephew.
Dominic's nephew went into the governor's garage and drank a beer. Yeah, okay. Thank you, chat room.
And by the way, the governor is a beer drinker, not a wine drinker.
He is. I saw the nice picture. Where he was downtown somewhere. City Steam, maybe?
Thomas Hooker Brewery.
Thomas Hooker Brewery. That was sad that place. What was that called? Trump Brook Brewery.
Yes.
That place went out of business. That was a great bar.
Well, I think didn't they just reopen it or partners with the one in Bloomfield?
The same in the same area where like the old spaghetti factory.
Yeah, I think so. But if you go there now, you can get both of those beers. They brew them both. They subbed it out to them, so I think you can still get the beer.
Yeah, we used to go there long ago.
A long time ago.
Did you drive home from there, Brian?
We tried.
We hit the gas pedal, if that's what you mean. Yes, that was our first radio career. Whew. Okay. So, final words. We only have a few minutes left. So, but final words on this. It sounds like we're all kind of in consensus here that it's probably a good thing. I'm a little suspicious of this medallion system. It just feels like it's going to be wrought with. I mean, why a medallion system? You get a license. You want to have it at whatever it was, 1228, and that's it. Fine. Then that's how many licenses you give out. Why do we need a medallion system? I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I mean, medallion was just the word that the governor chose for it because I think Massachusetts and New York call them medallions.
Sure, but it's another license. You get your liquor license and then you get another liquor license.
No.
It's different.
This is a medallion that goes with your license. But you know what I think? I'm not sure now. I'm guessing. A lot of the ones they call mom and pop stores, which I don't even know what that means anymore. Who's mom and pop? But anyway, I think is to let them build some value in case they want to get out now or sell. They got a chance to make some money. And I think that's a pretty good idea. I think that's my opinion.
I would agree that it's probably a severance package to
that's
smaller stores.
Correct.
Yeah, no, I agree. This is the hey, instead of just watching you go out of business and get destroyed by a big chain package store who now owns 9 of these things around the state, here's a chance for you to get a chip in the game, and you're going to be, in the beginning here, one of the few people that get a chip in the game. So if you do want to sell out, at least they got to buy it from you.
I think that's what this is all about.
I don't know. That's a little odd too, but if that's what we need,
if that's what it takes, let's do it.
Yeah, and you know what? I would bet that if the true mom and pop stores that Carroll Hughes is representing, I bet you they might jump all over that. They might see the writing on the wall saying, you know what? I just don't have the effort or the energy to, fight in this business anymore like this, and I'll take the medallion and sell it to a big box shop somewhere and. Move to Florida.
Brian, I'm willing to go on record here tonight. 48 other states did this. They did the studies. No stores closed. People didn't go out of business. This is all about people who are lazy in the center of the state who don't want to work. And remember, when you go to the center of the state, you pay more for liquor and beer because it's a little further away from the border. We have to compete, so our prices are a lot better. And that's one thing. Why should they have to work when they got? It's a captive audience down there, basically what it is.
Yeah.
Well, and let's face it, there are more package stores per capita in the state of Connecticut than there are in the state of New York.
Well,
so I mean, there are more package stores per person
Okay.
in the state of Connecticut. We are an oversaturated market.
That's correct.
Is that really true? Even in the whole state of New York?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
The whole state of New York only has 2,500.
Really?
But don't forget, we have 29 border towns.
That's that's an interesting little demographic study, though, because I guess you would say it's got big cities, and we don't really have big cities here. We have big towns. We're suburban drinkers, where everyone in New York is a city drinker kind of thing.
Is there a difference?
A suburban drinker and a city drinker?
Suburban drinker.
It's a lot more
hails a
expensive.
cab.
We count closets.
Yeah.
An urban drinker hails a cab. A suburban drinker drives home.
and drives the cab. That could be it. Any arguments that you think are very strong on the don't do this side? Going from 2 to 9, what do you think? You only want to own one.
Well, I may want to own 2, and maybe my nephews or nieces will get involved later on. They might want to own 4. But
Okay.
it's all about competition. Let the market dictate it.
How did we get to 9, by the way? Is that just because what other states have done? 9?
I think they had a study somewhere they
That's
were going
what
by.
Massachusetts did.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, at some point, I guess you got to do like the monopoly test of, if you're over 50% of whatever the heck that ratio is.
What the market share is.
But I don't know how you would do that.
Well, Connecticut also has another law right now, Chris. I don't know if you're aware of this, but years ago we passed something where you're only allowed one liquor store per 2,500 people. And as somebody is expired and closed up, they don't reissue them.
Right.
So at a point, it's going to come where it levels off, where there'll be a lot less liquor stores in Connecticut just by the previous laws they've put in, which was a good idea because you had one at every street corner.
I'm trying to think now. I know of at least 3 M&R liquor stores.
No, there's only 2, but there's only 2. You can only own 2 liquor stores.
Yeah, but I guess that's my question. I could have sworn there was one in
One in
Glastonbury,
Avon.
one in Avon, and one in Manchester.
You could probably
I'm
put in
almost
somebody
sure of
else's
it.
name
Yeah,
and
maybe
do it.
that's
I
what
guess
they did.
that's that easy to do it.
Maybe that's what they did.
Yeah. But one thing I want to say something, Brian. Last year, the Journal Inquirer did a poll throughout the state of Connecticut. And the 3 questions that the JI had asked was, do you want Sunday liquor sales? Do you want pay tolls? Or do you want Keno? They said no to Keno, no to pay tolls, and yes to Sunday liquor sales. And that's what a lot of these politicians have to get on board is because I've got one lady up in Summers that she refuses to vote for this, and she says, I have 3 package store owners who don't want to work. I said, but you didn't get elected by 3 people. You got elected by thousands of people.
Right.
But this is how arrogant some of them are. They just don't get it. And I think this governor is standing tall. I mean, my hat's off to him. He's going against what a lot of people wouldn't budge. And let it be known that last year, Carroll Hughes was told, get on board because if you wait another year, this might get a lot worse. And he kind of laughed it off. And I think now the joke's on him because there's going to be drastic changes, which are all positive changes. And a big winner in all of this, Brian, is not my package store. It's not the state of Connecticut. It's the consumers. They're going to save money. They can shop when they want, more hours. They're the big winner here, the consumers, the taxpayers, the voters.
I do think you're right. I think in reading this, I didn't see anything where the consumer gets screwed. I do see I'm curious as to the business model of the package store and how well it's going to work. But clearly you have done more research on this than I have reading in the past week. So I will defer to you. You're the guy with the skin in the game. If you're saying that the business model of a package store is not going to get affected, then I will let you have the final word, because you're going to have
Absolutely
you're going to have the final penny in the game.
Hey, listen,
so.
I want to mention Kathy Tellerita, the state rep from Enfield. When she came to me 4 years ago, I told her she knew nothing about this, but I'll tell you what, she put up a hell of a fight with this, and she proved her point. She stuck to her guns. So I want to thank her very, very much. This is huge.
She actually, on the last night of the legislative session last year, she stood up on the floor to begin to offer an amendment for Sunday sales.
That's correct.
Like maybe 10 minutes before the clock struck midnight.
Correct. But again, keep in mind, Brian, that Carroll Hughes was warned about this. This might happen, but he thought he was almighty and powerful, that he could stop anything. But this governor sees the writing on the wall. He understands business, and hopefully now he's more pro-business than we ever thought. And this is going to be, let's get the rest of it now. Let's get the gas tax down, the cigarette tax down. Let's get people come to Connecticut to shop here after all these years, and let's make some money.
All right, let's do it. We'll make that the final word. Hey, thanks for joining us tonight on the Horn News Talk tonight. I'm Brian Parker, sponsored by Gateway Financial Group, the accounting firm of Budwitz and Meyerjack, Deepwater Seafood of Avon, Sherpa Technologies, and Central CTDental.com. Thank you to our guests, Christine Stuart, Dominic Alaimo, and, of course, Dennis House calling in. Dave Moore over there for the news. Great job, sweetie.
Thank you.
We'll see you next week. I think Tony Huang, who is running for Senate, is going to join us. So we're going to do our little interviews with the candidates next week with him. We'll see you then.
At home, work, or your favorite coffee shop, if there's a Wi-Fi connection, get on the Horn. Hartford's heart and soul. On thehorn.com.